Hello, everyone. I'm Cindy Edwards from PRmediaNow. Today, we are talking salt and how it could have a huge impact on Newfoundland's economy. We are talking with President of Atlas Salt, Rowland Howe. Hi, Rowland.
Hi, Cindy. Thanks for having me in here.
Our pleasure. Well, exciting news today from Atlas Salt, which we will get to in a moment. But this news occurs in the context of increasingly fascinating developments in the North American salt market. So tell us what's going on there, Rowland.
Well, I've been in the salt industry for over 30 years, ran the largest salt mine in the world for a good part of that. So, I thought I'd seen pretty much everything, but recently we've had a lot of exciting times in the salt business, and not least of which was 5.2 billion in the last year in acquisitions, private equity coming into the business, recognizing the value of well-run salt assets. So certainly they've given us something to think about, but also at the same time, we're seeing security of supply issues with global logistics and with shipping rates the way they are escalating. There's potential for real shortages of salt this winter, especially, we see winter weather being predicted as being very snowy, and it doesn't have to be incredibly cold to generate demand for salt. So, all these things together, the supply issues, having security of supply, and a price that is meaningful, and is, all those things together make this a really exciting time.
Well, today's news from Atlas Salt suggests the already very large Great Atlantic deposit extends further toward the north and the deep water port at Turf Point. Now, your drill program is stepping out 500 meters from the existing northernmost hole, a huge step out of half a kilometer, bringing you even closer to the port. Now, that shows a lot of confidence in this deposit. So I have a few questions regarding this. First, what does Turf Point bring to the overall equation here?
Turf Point's proximity is key. Having the ability to take salt into a port and ship from that port to the markets that we're looking at, northeast US and Canada, being able to move it economically on a ship is so valuable. And being close to a suitable port like Turf Point, it just gives you so many advantages and creates an advantaged asset.
You're stepping out 500 meters from the existing northernmost hole, which cut 335 meters, 1,000 feet of almost 97% salt, starting just 190 meters downhole. Now, from 190 meters to 315 meters, the salt grades an incredible 98%.
This is an exceptional deposit. When I saw the results, they seemed spectacular. So I actually had to go visit in the core shack and look at what was there. And it is equally impressive. I mean, this is a massive amount of salt at very high grade.
So the seismic data is giving you the confidence to step out 500 meters from this hole?
Yes, and that is more towards Turf Point, which gives us all sorts of advantages in terms of material handling, being able to move the start of our operations closer in. It just has enormous operational advantages.
Now, an important question regarding this deposit centers around mining methodology. Either the deposit is accessed through a ramp or through a vertical shaft. If this step-out hole is similar to the existing northernmost hole, does that answer the question for you, and what's the difference between the two approaches?
Given the fact that it's 190 meters to the top of the salt, just leads us to believe that an incline is the way to go. Inclines are so much more advantageous in terms of creating them, mining them, and actually operating them. A shaft is a little more complex in operations. So our geotechnical work, which is part of the feasibility study, will confirm one or the other. But certainly, we are leaning towards having an incline for this access.
Now, not only does Great Atlantic have easy access to a deep water port, but it's regarded as the most attractive undeveloped salt project in Eastern North America because of the homogeneous nature of this deposit. Now, can you explain that term, and why is Great Atlantic so special from a geological perspective?
I think the best place to start with this is thinking about how salt was actually deposited 100 million years ago, hundreds of million years ago, over a wide area in a basin like the Dead Sea in Israel or the Great Salt Lake in Utah. So you get, thick beds of salt over a wide geographical area. And today, that's what we're seeing, but it's underground now, of course. And that gives you an extensive deposit, which is uniform and very predictable, which allows us to then plan and execute a plan in terms of extraction. And the hope is, the belief is that we will use continuous mining technology, which is machines which will extract the salt, put them on conveyors, and that gives you the context of a salt factory, because salt doesn't need to be processed in any way like precious metals. I mean, it's a crushing and screening operation. So you have very few tailings, you have no wet products. You size it, you crush it, size it, and ship it.
You get it in, get it out, ship it off. Okay, now we've been witnessing a gold rush or a resource rush in general this year in Newfoundland. So why is this such an attractive jurisdiction?
I think underexplored is probably the best way to describe Newfoundland. There's amazing geology there, and people are just realizing that we need to understand it better. Of course, our salt deposit, we do understand it very well, but it's great to be in the company of others who are coming to the island to explore further. It is a very welcoming jurisdiction. I mean, it's been voted in the top 10.
And if you do get up and running, it's a company, it's a mine that could be operating for decades to come.
The size and predictability of salt deposits, salt mines, they run for decades, and some people say even for generations.
Wow. Okay, now what can investors look forward to from Atlas Salt over the coming weeks and through the balance of this quarter?
I think the backdrop is very bullish as we run through this. The feasibility study, the drill program, there's going to be news coming out of that. Now, the drill program, we'll drill, and we drill into salt. We don't need to send it off to a lab or get out a little eyepiece to see it. It is a solid core of salt, and it's easy to see. It's easy to detect. And, if you don't believe it, just taste it. It's salt.
And you have tasted it, haven't you?
Often.
That's why they call you Mr. Salt. Whether you like it or not, Rowland, they call you Mr. Salt. Rowland Howe from Atlas Salt, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And you can find Atlas Salt on the TSXV, and the symbol is SALT. Easy to remember. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.